Good morning, I'm Maria Jose. Nice to meet you.
Good day, my name is David. Please, I have a seat. We've seen your resume, so tell me about yourself.
I graduate from the Universidad Nacional Abierta de Estancia a couple of years ago. I am an English teacher with 3 years of experience teaching in the secondary school of a school in Chinchina, where I was creating improvement plans for the students with low academic performance. Also, different didactic materials to insert learning theories in the students. I am very curious and interested in researching a bit more fun topics so that the students can understand the topics. In a year, I will have finished studying my master's degree.
Why do you want to be a teacher?
I discovered that I want to dedicate myself to teaching when I was younger. In fact, an English teacher was my inspiration to be interested in teaching. From the day I started studying, I was able to recognize the impact education has on society, and I knew I want to be part of the change. I have always been interested in working with children, and now enjoy helping and supporting them in the classroom. I am a teacher because I believe that education is a transforming tool for each child, and that with the right help they can go a long way, right? It is important that children receive adequate attention and that they feel understood and heard in the classroom. This way, they will grow with dreams and will be excited to continue growing and studying.
What experience have you had in educational center?
Last year, I worked as a teacher in a school in Chinchina. Specifically, I worked with high school grades 6th to 8th for 3 years. Thanks to this experience, I learned how a large educational center works.
What methodologies do you use in your classes?
Throughout my career as a teacher, I have been implementing different educational methodologies because it's important, which were adapted to the specific characteristics of the school and each group of students. I believe that the pedagogical approach that benefits students the most is the one that puts children at the center, tries to foster a teacher-student relationship, and teach from experience and self-discovery. Thus, children can enjoy the freedom that works groups offer them. For example, where they interact and learn from each other. I also find it interesting to adapt to ICT tools. Why? Because they are tools that are being seen currently and that can have a positive impact on the teaching learning of students.
What are your strengths and weaknesses?
One of my great strengths is creativity and curiosity. I am always thinking about how I can apply a wide variety of teaching and assignment methodologies, considering the contribution to the design and development of the curriculum using effective teaching materials that motivate students. I also like to investigate how to improve my classes and how can I be more active with my students. Regarding my weaknesses, I am a very perfectionist person and sometimes too critical of myself. I have a hard time leaving a task that I think could be improvement. So I take my time on it until I'm satisfied. I'm trying to work on it so that this critical voice doesn't stop me from enjoying the small tasks of my job. For this reason, I try to share with my partners, work as a team, and reward myself when I have finished a difficult task.
Do you think technology should be used as a learning tool?
Yes, without a doubt. I think that technology is being used more and more in the classroom. Children being to use technological devices from a very young age. So, using them as a pedagogical tool is a success. We must encourage the use of electronic tablets or computers as platforms that allow them to be creative and get excited about what they learn. In my classes, I try to compare the use of traditional tools with electronic applications that motivate students, which such as interactive videos, surveys, puzzles, or games. The children like games, which I have been practicing lately.
How do you organize the contents of a class?
Planning is one of my pillars of my work. Of course, the good organization begins before the school day. I usually dedicate one afternoon a week to planning content for the following classes and adapting the content that I had already prepared. I will have finished organizing the content by before the day of the class. It is important to be flexible and to know that the planning must be adapted to the classrooms and not the other way around. I like to review the content to take into account the new interests of my students, the school's term objectives, and the problems that could arise.
Why do you want to work for this school?
I would like to work for San Pablo because it teaches English to encourage individual growth and curiosity through an exploratory curriculum. Also, because it is a school with high educational standards. Your school has a reputation for academic excellence, and I want to be a part of this process.
How do you resolve conflicts at work?
The first thing I will do will be to encourage dialogue between all the parties involved in the conflict. Learn to listen to all the points of view of a story. Set rules and limits, and ensure they are followed. If it is a conflict between students, the process is different. Why? The first thing I will do, I must teach them to resolve it in a healthy way. It is not enough to ask for apologies and continue the same. No, I must give them the necessary tools to avoid problems in the future.
How would you describe your student?
The students in my tutorial would say that I am an attentive teacher and that I like to pay attention to details. I try to connect with each of children and have details with them. I would also say that I am fun, that I explain concepts with examples that are understood, and that I like to use music and games in class. I think that parents are satisfied with my work as a teacher and see me as a dedicated and patient teacher.
What does teaching mean to you?
It's an interesting question. Okay, teaching means helping another person to understand. Help to understand why something is worth understanding. Know the difference between teaching content and teaching thinking. Explain, model, and connect. Cause a change. Check intellectually. Show another person how to responsibly use what you know. That relationships with children are the foundation of everything else. Being able to see individual face, needs, opportunities, and affections where others see a classroom of students. Model curiosity. Knowing what understanding really means. Create the need for students to reorganize their intellectual baggage. Criticizing yourself for your own biases, blind spots, and other misperceptions. Help students play with complex ideas in search of self-knowledge and personal change. Again, know the difference between teaching connect and teaching thinking. That you need to know your connect well enough to teach any concept or idea within it in over 20 different ways. That you will work closely with people who will think differently from you, and you will learn to bridge those gaps with diplomacy. That you yourself will be a lifelong apprentice. Face your own weaknesses. You're going to need a lot of help from everyone. Have students ask why to everything.
How would you describe yourself?
I am an organized person. Is the priority. Yeah? I am an organized person who always seeks to produce good results. Also, I try to set my goals realistically to ensure I do my job successfully. And I am a responsible person. Very, very, very responsible. And obviously respectful.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years' time, I will have learned 2 more languages because my goal is to become multilingual. I would also like to have a group of students where we could go to a summer camp so that they know the culture of the United States. In the same way, I would like to implement the English languages lab in the students to have a better learning process. And finally, improve the teaching learning process with the students. Learning many new topics and improving every day.
Okay, Maria Jose, do you have any question or need clarification?
Yes, is there any other selection process after this interview?
For now, once the interview are complete, the committee will meet to discuss the interview. We will call you if another interview is needed.
Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.